After a full day spent yesterday in the truck, covering the 630 kilometers that took us from Mon, Botswana, to Rundu, Namibia, today another road challenge awaits us. We leave very early as usual, because we will face another 515 kilometers. We joke about our entry to Etosha, imagining the reaction of the guards at the Namutoni gate, the eastern gate of the park, when they see Jocko. This morning, in fact, one of our drivers and the person in charge of the tour operator showed up wearing a decidedly over-the-top spotted vest. His bizarre look does not go unnoticed, and gives us a moment of lightness in a trip that, thanks to him, went ahead without a hitch. Jocko proved to be a fundamental figure. With his quick wit and a trusted network of contacts, he was able to resolve every unexpected event with extreme professionalism. Whether it was a mechanical failure, a logistical problem, or a simple request from the group, Jocko was always ready to intervene, and his presence proved reassuring. His clothing may seem eccentric, but it is yet another demonstration of his colorful personality and his ability to face every situation with a smile. The first inhabitants of the park to welcome us are the springboks, the elegant antelopes that characterize the vast landscapes of Etosha. With their slender bodies and agile movements, they leap lightly on the golden grass, almost as if they wanted to show us their agility and free spirit. Their fur, colored in warm tones of brown and white, blends perfectly with the surrounding environment, and their lyre-shaped horns immediately catch our eye. This first encounter with the park's fauna marks the beginning of an exciting adventure. The springboks remind us that we are now guests of an uncontaminated and wild nature, where every encounter becomes a memorable experience. Their presence, so common but at the same time fascinating, is the prelude to everything that the park has to offer, in a succession of surprises and wonders that only Africa can give. When we noticed several jeeps parked on the side of the road in the distance, excitement began to grow among us. The sight of vehicles stopped in the middle of the savannah is always a sign that something special is about to happen. We exchanged curious glances, wondering what wonders of African fauna awaited us. But nothing could have prepared us for the surprise that greeted us when we approached. A group of cheetahs, lying in the dry grass, calm and majestic. Seeing them so close, with their spotted coats blending perfectly with the golden landscape, was a breathtaking moment. Their attentive, watchful eyes seemed to scrutinize every detail of the surrounding environment, while we were fascinated by their elegance and the power they emanated even in silence. The scene, so rare and precious, reminded us of the magic of safari, where every curve can reveal an unforgettable surprise. It is the first time on this long journey that we come face to face with wildebeest, and the encounter is as fascinating as it is unexpected. These animals, often described as clumsy due to their robust body and thin legs, are actually surprisingly agile, and their massive presence adds a sense of grandeur to the landscape. It is difficult not to be fascinated by their primordial energy, a symbol of epic migrations across Africa, where they travel hundreds of kilometers in search of new pastures. A beautiful specimen of oryx stands out before us, embodying all the majesty and elegance of this fascinating desert dweller. Its long, tapered horns, symmetrical and sharp as spears, seem to challenge the blue sky above us. Zebras, with their unmistakable black and white stripes, often appear in large herds, creating a spectacular sight in the open landscape. Seeing them in such large numbers, all together, offers an almost hypnotic vision. Their stripes seem to continually merge and separate, making it difficult to distinguish a single individual. This optical effect, in addition to being fascinating, is also one of their defense strategies against predators. For a long stretch of our journey, we were accompanied by the fascinating presence of giraffes. Imposing and majestic, with their slow and graceful pace, they gave us an extraordinary spectacle. We watched them eat from the treetops, stretching their long necks to reach the highest leaves with surprising precision. We saw them drink, an operation far from easy for these creatures. Their front legs spread and bent awkwardly to balance their slender bodies. Each movement seemed a delicate balance between grace and effort. And yet, despite the apparent difficulties, the giraffes always maintained their elegant composure.
Bevono! Adesso si abbassano. No, ma le aprono proprio. Guarda.
Eccola lì, eccola lì.
Sono bellissime.
Minchia, ma sono fatte male. No.
Questo è il momento più delicato per la giraffa, è il momento in cui può essere più preda dei felini. Infatti se vedi c'è l'altra che guarda e lei che sta piegata.
Anche le rotole come passare.
And then, with a disarming calm, they crossed our road, leaving us breathless for a moment. Seeing them so close, with their long shadows stretching across the dirt road, reminded us how extraordinary African nature is, capable of offering moments of pure, unexpected wonder. Even today, on our first day in Namibia, we find ourselves wrapped in the magic of the golden hour, that perfect moment when the low sun paints the landscape with warm, golden shades. We feel satisfied, full of gratitude for all the wonders we have admired during the day. For our second night in Namibia, we pitched our tents at Halali Camp, an iconic area within Etosha, renowned for its proximity to a waterhole accessible with a short walk. From an elevated position, it is possible to closely observe the wildlife coming to drink, an unmissable opportunity for those who love to experience nature in its purest state. The benches placed around the waterhole offer a privileged and dominant observation point, allowing guests to relax and, with a bit of luck, witness exciting scenes from the comfort of their seats. Our game drives always started at dawn, so we were able to enjoy the magic of the waterhole only after sunset, a time when the atmosphere is charged with mystery and nature reveals its most hidden protagonists. I must say that we were quite lucky in the sightings. Although I initially intended not to share this experience, as I do not have bright lenses with me, and therefore do not have detailed images, a special event made me change my mind. Two majestic rhinos appeared at the pool, and what happened between them, a spectacular clash with horns clashing loudly, touched me deeply. Whether it was a fight for hierarchy or a complex ritual, it was a moment of pure power and beauty that prompted me to publish at least this sequence, because some experiences deserve to be shared, even if not perfectly immortalized. For our game drive in Etosha, we head by truck to the meeting point where the jeeps we booked are waiting for us. The transfer itself, however, turns into a sort of unexpected pre-game drive, as we have the opportunity to spot several animals along the way. Every glance out the window turns out to be an opportunity to immerse ourselves in the extraordinary fauna of the park. However, in hindsight, there is one encounter that we would have liked to experience longer: a lion with a thick and majestic mane that was slowly approaching us. We decide to continue, without imagining that that would be the only lion we would spot during our stay in Etosha. Thinking back, we would have liked to stop just a few minutes longer to admire that magnificent specimen up close, the symbol par excellence of the power and beauty of African nature. But as often happens on a safari, every encounter is fleeting and precious, and it is precisely this unpredictability that makes the experience even more fascinating. Here we pass the entrance to Halali Camp, famous for the waterhole that is located right next to the camp. This waterhole, like many others in the park, is of crucial importance to the wildlife of Etosha. It is essential to understand the role of the waterholes in this unique ecosystem. The name Etosha means Great White Place, a clear reference to the salt flat that forms the central desert part of the park. This vast white pan is surrounded by savannas, whose appearance changes with the seasons, but which, due to recent climate changes, remains largely arid and dry for much of the year. It is in this context that the 86 waterholes that surround it, both natural and artificial, become vital to the survival of the animals, acting as a magnet for every creature in search of refreshment. The waterholes are the beating heart of the park, and the success of any game drive depends in large part on visiting them. Here, animals gather to drink, and these water oases become natural stages where extraordinary encounters occur, allowing visitors to observe the dynamics between predators and prey, herbivores and carnivores, in an environment that is as brutal as it is fascinating. On board the open jeep, during the game drive, the visual experience becomes truly extraordinary. The absence of barriers allows you to admire the landscape at 360 degrees, capturing every detail of the nature that unfolds around you. The wind that caresses your face and the sounds of nature create a sense of total immersion.
Female don't have horns.
Ok. Allora, ha detto che ci sono diversi tipi di impala. Questo impala che state vedendo si chiama blackface impala.
These black-faced in Africa, they have been only counted in Namibia and Angola. So the rest part of Africa, they are common.
Ah, ok. This one is only in Namibia and Angola.
Yeah. So,
It's land squirrel.
it's a ground squirrel.
Ground squirrel.
These ground squirrels are very cute and dig tunnels to protect themselves from external temperatures on the surface and from predators.
Seeds, insects.
Insects.
Yeah, very.
No, sono arrivata
Ha detto si vedono la mattina presto, la sera, perché di giorno stanno nascosti per il bush quando fa caldo. Questa è una delle più basse, dice ce ne sono alcune solte 4 metri e mezzo.
Questa è quanto alta?
This one is about how many?
These
Sarà 2 metri e mezzo.
so they are both male, but the behind one is bigger than the front.
Sono due maschi
The front one should be the youngster.
e quella che sta più vicina in fronte dovrebbe essere.
Un po' più lontano.
How we can understand if it's male or female?
So just
By
like
the head,
to have a look on the
head,
horns.
horns.
So it's like the male horns are quite big.
The horn, bigger.
Without this.
After spotting ostriches and the elegant red hartebeest, we came across an even more exciting encounter, a rhino with her calf. The majesty of these animals is undeniable, and seeing them so close, in all their grandeur, is an experience that leaves its mark. The large adult rhino stopped to mark its territory, a gesture that underlines how important it is for them to establish their dominion in an environment where territory is everything. The encounter with a rhino in the wild is always special, and seeing this mother-child pair made us reflect on the importance of conserving these magnificent creatures, symbols of a wild nature that we must protect at all costs. As we cross the road in front of us, the oryx appear with their elegance and grandeur to remind us how surprising and varied nature is. The first one that crosses our path is truly unusual. One of its horns is perfectly straight, while the other is curved in a marked way. This contrast between symmetry and asymmetry, although unusual, does not seem to diminish the pride with which the animal advances at all. Indeed, that curved horn makes it unique, as if nature wanted to add a touch of eccentricity to its beauty. The oryx, with their long and sharp horns, similar to swords, are perfect inhabitants of these wild lands, adapted to survive in the most extreme conditions. As we watch them calmly cross the road, we realize how special each encounter is in this corner of the world. Even in the smallest details, such as a slightly curved horn, nature always surprises us, making every moment spent in these lands a continuous discovery. The Etosha Pan is one of Namibia's most fascinating geological wonders, a salt pan so vast it can even be seen from space. Formed around 12 million years ago, the pan was originally fed by the Kunena River, which flowed through the shallow pan. However, subsequent climate and geological changes caused the river to change course, leaving the enormous pan to gradually dry up. Today, the Etosha Pan covers an impressive 5,000 square kilometers, forming the heart of the Etosha National Park, a landscape as desolate as it is breathtaking.
Lungo.
230 lungo.
Sono delle piste.
So, but during the rain,
Ma io chiedo.
once you receive such a heavy rain, it is filled up by the rainwater.
Dice che arriva l'acqua da due fiumi che stanno tra la Namibia e l'Angola.
So, if we could have water here, beautiful birds from the ocean like this flamingo.
Beautiful
birds.
birds.
Yeah, like
Birds,
flamingo,
okay.
Pelican,
Yeah.
plane,
Yeah.
strokes as well,
Yeah.
so that they should come and do the feeding from those.
Ah, ok.
yeah.
Quando è periodo delle piogge arrivano anche tantissimi bei uccelli che si vengono a nutrire dei pesci che arrivano dal fiume dell'Angola.
Ma si riempie tutto d'acqua qui?
Mi pare strano perché non so da via non sta stato, però ci saranno delle depressioni.
As the elephant in front of us slowly dusts himself and rubs himself against a sturdy tree, I want to take this opportunity to tell you a little more about this unique part of the park, the pan. The hypersaline conditions of the soil limit the species that can live permanently in this area. But during the short rainy season, the pan is radically transformed. The rainwater and the contribution of the Oshana and Omaramba rivers that flood it, it is sometimes flooded and a shallow lagoon is created. It is precisely in those few days that the pan comes alive, attracting flocks of flamingos and pelicans, which take advantage of these ephemeral waters to feed and nest. This seasonal phenomenon is a visible testament to the changing nature of Etosha. During the drier months, the pan appears as a blinding white desert, seemingly stretching away into infinity under the African sun, while with the rains it becomes a temporary oasis, creating a fleeting ecosystem that brings life to this otherwise inhospitable place. It is a place of extreme contrasts, where the absolute stillness of the desert is briefly interrupted by the dynamism of the wildlife that gathers there, making each visit a unique and unforgettable experience. Meanwhile, our elephant carefully continues his ritual, rubbing every part of his body against the tree, from his mighty trunk to his tail. Watching him is like witnessing a moment of intimate connection with the surrounding environment. This gesture is not only a way to relieve itching or remove parasites, but also a behavior that reflects the intelligence and awareness of these extraordinary animals. Elephants use nature as an ally to take care of themselves, and every movement is slow, measured, as if it were a silent dance with the landscape. The tree, probably centuries old, seems to patiently accept the embrace of this gentle giant. And in that moment, the boundary between the elephant and the world around him seems to vanish. It is an image that reminds us of the profound symbiosis that exists between animals and their habitat, a balance that nature has been able to build and that we, spectators, can only admire and protect. Who knows what kind of ritual took place between these two magnificent elephants, one completely white with dust, as if it were a mythical creature emerging from the earth, and the other scratching itself with a tangle of trunks. The scene, full of mystery and majesty, evokes a silent language that only they can understand, a tangle of ancient and symbolic gestures. Elephants use their trunks not only to perform practical gestures, but also to communicate affection, solidarity, and even hierarchy. That contact between the trunks could have been a sign of friendship, a greeting, or a way to strengthen the bonds between them. The dust that envelopes the great white elephant not only protects it from insects and the relentless heat, but also seems to give it an almost sacred aura, as if it were participating in a natural purification rite. In these moments, nature reveals its profound complexity, made of silent communications and invisible rituals that weave the fabric of wildlife. Observing these giants in their interactions reminds us how rich in meaning each gesture is, and how much we still have to learn from their way of living in harmony with the environment.
Questo è piccolo, un cucciolotto. Si sta grattando. È quello che si è fatto il bagno. Guardate bene. Dobbiamo chiedere se si accorgono della nostra presenza gli elefanti. Guarda.
Is there anyone else who needs to rub themselves in? A tribute to the acacia, the undisputed symbol of African flora. It is more than just a tree. It represents the very essence of the continent, with its majestic silhouette that stands out on the horizon of the savanna. In many African cultures, the acacia has a deep symbolic meaning. It represents resistance, strength, and longevity, all qualities necessary to survive in an environment that can be both merciless and beautiful at the same time.
Bella questa scena. Sì.
Before the sun sinks to the horizon, coloring the sky with the fiery hues typical of an African sunset, a last tour of the waterholes, the true hubs of life in this arid land. Each day in the park ends with this daily ritual, where the light fades and life is concentrated around a few precious water points. We have reached the 11th day of travel, and as usual we wake up at dawn, ready to immerse ourselves in the last exciting adventure inside Etosha. The jeeps pick us up in the early hours of the morning to give us one last game drive, during which we hope to spot some more of the majestic creatures that populate this vast park, from herds of elephants to the stealthy predators that inhabit the savanna. Today, however, the excitement of the safari must be balanced with the need to set off quickly, as a long transfer of 575 kilometers awaits us. The final destination is Epupa, a small and vibrant town in the far north of Namibia, where modernity still meets tradition. Here, next to the Himba village of Omangete, we will spend the night, immersed in the ancestral culture of these proud people, whose lifestyle offers us a fascinating glimpse into an authentic way of life, in harmony with nature and ancient customs. The road will be long, but the anticipation of this unique encounter fills us with enthusiasm and curiosity. It was difficult to focus on this mother and calf, rhino, among the acacia thorns with the 600 lens without support. After traveling a short stretch of road, the magic of the savanna surprises us once again. In the golden light of the newly risen dawn, two more majestic rhinos emerge before us. Their powerful profile moves slowly and decisively among the thorny acacia branches and is tinged with warm shades. Their every movement resonates with power and grace, and the silence is almost sacred, broken only by the noise of our jeep.
Lei miss
Infatti la passeggiata del leone ieri lo
Steenbok. Steenbok si chiama.
When we come across a hyena, the scene is charged with subtle tension. The animal observes us for a moment with a watchful gaze, its intelligent eyes scrutinizing our every movement, almost as if to evaluate whether we represent a threat or just a passing curiosity. His figure is nervous, ready to spring at any moment, but after a few seconds of hesitation, he seems to decide that we are not a danger. With unexpected relaxation, he stretches out among the bushes, abandoning himself to rest. Oryx move with natural grace as they graze undisturbed across the vast expanse of the savanna. Their posture is so refined that every step seems studied, as if they were taking part in a silent parade through the grass. Their long, tapered horns point skyward, giving them an air of majesty that captures the eye. Despite their robust structure, they move with surprising fluidity, almost as if they were dancing in harmony with the nature that surrounds them. A true spectacle of wild elegance, which evokes the perfection of a world where every detail seems precisely calibrated.
Sembrano preistorici, hanno quel becco.
Quel beccone.
They protect the
Sembrano
eggs.
pterodattili.
Quel becco un po'
But they
aggressivo.
protect the eggs, you mean?
Yeah,
They are the eggs and they
Comunque
protect.
questo, non si vede molti animali.
Ci stanno le uova, stanno proteggendo le uova nel nido. Dice che possono anche volare ma piccoli pezzi di volo, se no camminano.
Sì, sono vecchi. Sono preistorici.
Sono preistorici questi,
Interessante, questa gita, questa savana.
Come i dodi.
So they put the eggs in the ground.
Adesso sono qui due cose
Due cose che si
Not on
muovono.
the
che si
tree.
muovono laggiù in fondo.
And here, almost like a fleeting shadow among the sparse vegetation, an African wildcat emerges cautiously from the bushes. Its coat, a perfect blend of grays and striped browns, blends in with the dusty soil of Etosha, allowing it to move undisturbed in its kingdom. Its watchful eyes scan the horizon, attentive to every slightest movement, while its agile and jointed body advances with those typical elegant and silent movements, inherited from a born predator. For a moment, it almost seems like we are observing a common domestic cat, and it is no coincidence. This species is considered the direct ancestor of the felines that live in our homes today. But here, in the heart of the savanna, its nature is that of an independent hunter, capable of surviving in a hostile environment thanks to instinct and stealth. Then, with a quick dart, the small predator moves away into the shadows of the bush, leaving us with the charm of an encounter as brief as it is precious, a fragment of the wild life of Etosha. After spotting a group of wildebeest with their robust and orderly gait, we reach a waterhole located on the edge of the pan, the arid and desert heart of Etosha. Here, in a surprising contrast to the harshness of the landscape, the zebras welcome us. Their unmistakable black and white stripes stand out against the dusty ground, and as they move calmly around the pool and as they drink or approach each other, their figures stand out in the reflection in the water.
This tree is a perfect cheetah place. No cheetah, but
Cheetah or leopard?
yes.
Che corre.
Because normally we usually find the leopard.
Che ti è successo?
Okay, do you see?
Ho
And then
freddo,
when he hunts, you need to
intruppata.
hunt the meat on the tree.
On the tree.
The guide tells us that the splendid and solitary acacia, which stands majestically a short distance from the pool, is often a favorite refuge for leopards. The gnarled branches offer them a perfect hiding place, while from above, they dominate the landscape below. Unfortunately, luck is not on our side today. No movement betrays the presence of the leopard, and the tree remains silent, motionless under the scorching sun. But even without a sighting, the magic of knowing that we are in a territory frequented by these majestic felines still leaves a trace of emotion. We stop when, in the distance, we spot a group of ostriches moving elegantly across the arid landscape. Their long legs kick up dust as they advance, but it is one in particular that catches my attention. It approaches an acacia, its beak sharp and precise, carefully searching for yellow flowers among the thorns, is calculated, almost graceful, as he manages to dodge the treacherous thorns to reach those delicate buds. When we had almost lost hope, nature surprises us once again. Among the distant bushes, barely distinguishable, we glimpse 3 lions. Even though they are distant and almost camouflaged in the landscape, their presence is unmistakable and brings with it the emotion that always comes from meeting big cats. Despite the distance, their majestic aura is palpable. They dominate the landscape with a sovereign calm that reminds us why they are considered the kings of these lands.
So the bad people don't kill them to take off.
They just used to cut it off,
Yeah.
and then after that they regrow again.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you're able to kill it, then your population will go down.
Yeah.
So that's why the ministry decided, no, if they want that one, they used to cut it.
So nobody
So
can
that-
kill to take off.
Yeah, so that they can
Tagliato
grow
forte il corno.
Glielo taglia il governo per evitare che arrivano i cacciatori che li ammazzino, tanto a loro gli ricresce poi. But after you cut, they grow up again.
Yeah, and then if you find a rhino in the park,
Che stavano andando in estensione, no?
Because they are aggressive, because they haven't.
Uganda.
Because they have warned that you try to do again. Ok. Ha detto che sono molto aggressivi quando li incontri nel parco, quelli a cui hanno tagliato il cono, sono incazzati neri, quindi sono molto aggressivi, bisogna stare a distanza. Lo so, ma il problema è che ci sono i cacciatori.
We have reached the end of our game drive, an experience that has given us unexpected emotions and unforgettable moments. With a certain melancholy, we leave the jeeps at the Etosha Visitor Center. Every curve we took revealed a piece of this wild world to us, a window onto an authentic and uncontaminated nature. Waiting for us, with his usual reassuring smile, we find Jocko, our trusted driver and travel companion. His presence represents a return to the daily routine of our itinerary, but also a bond with the land we are exploring, since every corner of Etosha seems to tell stories that Jocko knows well. As we continue our journey, the memory of the animals, the landscapes, and the silence of the savannah accompanies us, making us appreciate even more the magic of this day. Along the way, while we were still crossing the park, we were lucky enough to meet many other animals. Each encounter would have deserved a stop, a moment to observe and photograph, but we had already lingered too long in the game drive with the jeeps, captured by the pristine beauty of Etosha. Now, with a long delay on the schedule, we set off again at a brisk pace towards Apuo. Despite the rush, the emotion of having experienced one last immersion in the wild nature accompanies us as we leave the park behind us, projected towards the next adventure that awaits us in the vibrant north of Namibia. Jocko, with his expert and ever-vigilant eye, doesn't miss anything. When he spots 5 lions lazily resting in the shade of an imposing termite mound, he immediately pulls the truck over, giving us all a long and precious stop to admire the spectacle. Even though they are far away and only a telephoto lens or binoculars allow us to see them clearly, the scene that unfolds before us is something extraordinary. Seeing them play with each other, nibbling affectionately and cuddling with surprising delicacy, is a spectacle that almost seems to shatter the myth of the lion as a ruthless predator. There's a playfulness, a sense of family intimacy that is deeply affecting, a sweetness that contrasts with the stern image we normally associate with these big cats. And so, as the heat of the savannah envelopes us, we find ourselves witnessing a rare and special moment, a memory that we will carry with us, where the power of nature intertwines with its unexpected tenderness. Even today, after having traveled an infinite number of kilometers, the hour of the African sunset arrives punctually, and once again, I am enchanted by this spectacle of colors that, despite the passing of the days, continues to surprise and excite me. The sky is painted with beautiful shades, while the savannah turns into a living painting. Every evening seems like a unique work of art, as if nature wanted to give us one last act of wonder before giving way to the night. Even though there are still many hours to go before we reach the Himba village of Omangete, where we will pitch our tents in the darkness under a starry sky, this parenthesis of light recharges us, giving us the strength to continue. There is something almost mystical about these sunsets. Each time they remind me how extraordinary this land is and how privileged the time we are spending here, immersed in its timeless beauty. When we finally arrived, late last night, darkness enveloped us and the tiredness was palpable. We pitched our tents on a nearby piece of land, working by torchlight and with the knowledge that the next day would finally bring us an encounter with the Himba. This morning, when we woke up very early, the world around us was still wrapped in a suspended silence. When we reached the entrance gate of the village, dawn had just begun to dye the sky with a soft light. A young shepherd was leading the flock out, with slow and calculated movements, while the village was slowly awakening from its sleep. There was a serene calm in the air, as if life here followed an ancient and immutable rhythm. Every detail, the light sounds of the animals, the sound of the wind between the huts, told of a simple daily life, but deeply tied to the land and traditions. Observing this awakening so different from what we are used to made us feel part of an intimate moment, a small fragment of life that we will hardly forget.
So they started making notice, and the dress they are wearing is like the one for Queen Elizabeth.
You immediately want to play.
Over here, this is what we call a kraal. A kraal is a milking area where you milk the cows. So it's happening there. So the kraal have its opening, and then the opening of the kraal is facing the opening of the main hut. So if you come into a village, you saw now the opening of the kraal. The mostly important is a kraal. So then you know already that the opening, the facing way it is facing the main hut. So in between here, there should be something which we call it is a holy place. So a holy place is where we pray to our ancestors. So whenever we have somebody who is very sick or ill, before we take that person to the hospital, we have to bring that person to the holy place. And then they make a traditional fire, which is made with a stick. And then you call a diviner to see whether if this incisive, it has to be treated by traditional doctor or it needs medical doctors. So the diviner tells. Okay.
As the guide explains how the village is organized, the atmosphere around us changes with the arrival of dawn. The sun begins to slowly rise from the hills, casting a golden light that spreads gently across the landscape, illuminating the new school that we will visit later. It is an almost solemn moment, in which the village seems to come to life delicately. The first activities begin to fill the air. We hear the light footsteps of those coming out of the huts, the call of the animals, and the sound of tools announcing the beginning of a new day. Every gesture is part of a routine that has been repeated for generations, but which today, in our eyes, appears as something special, imbued with the strength of a deep bond with the land and the community. As we listen to the guide, the spectacle of awakening surrounds us, and we feel immersed in a moment that tells of the resilience and harmony of this place far from our everyday world. The night in the tent was cold, and even this morning the crisp air is felt despite being covered by thermal clothing. It is a cold that gets to your bones, but for us it is only a temporary discomfort, easily mitigated. Looking at the children of the village, however, it becomes clear how different their relationship with these temperatures is. For them, the fire is not only a pleasant comfort, but a vital necessity. We see them gather around the flames, to warm themselves a little and face the morning chill, in a small, essential ritual while waiting for the hot African sun. There is something extraordinarily simple, but deeply significant in this image. The fire becomes the beating heart of the village, the point around which the community gathers, finding not only physical warmth, but also a sense of unity and strength that accompanies them at the beginning of each new day.
qualcosa blu. Si coprono a pezzi, cioè un quadratino di pelle, il resto resta scoperto.
So you see this one?
This is corn, baby.
Cow horn.
Cow horn.
Yes. So cow skin, cow horn.
Pelle di mucca e corno di mucca. To put inside the okra powder.
So it's to put okra powder to keep the traditional butter and also the perfume, everything.
What she told me?
She said every girl now should come and put on okra.
It's against insect or for the temperature, for what?
Mostly is for the cold. It also helps.
Cold.
Yeah, when it's cold like in the morning.
Quindi aiuta pure a riscaldarsi. Non so come.
And then
And here are the Himba women, imposing and fascinating figures, who immediately capture attention with their proud bearing. Tall, straight like warriors from another era, they move with grace and confidence, embodying the pride of their ancient culture. Their bodies and hair are entirely covered in a unique mixture: cow fat, goat butter, red ochre earth, ashen perfumes that escape precise description, but which carry with them the aroma of earth, fire, and ancient traditions. This paste, which protects their skin from the relentless desert sun and symbolically binds them to their land, gives the Himba an almost bronze tone, transforming them into living statues, which shine under the warm light of the African sun. Observing them is like glimpsing a fragment of history, where every gesture and every aesthetic detail contains profound meanings, linked to rituals and customs handed down for generations. There is a beauty in them that goes beyond appearance. It is the strength of an identity that resists time, rooted in their culture and the environment that surrounds them.
so you see, so that is now the Himba shower.
The Himba shower, as our guide calls it, is a fascinating purification ritual that reflects the ingenuity and adaptation of these people to the harsh conditions of their environment. Unable to wash with water because of the red ochre paste that covers their bodies and hair, a mixture that serves as protection against the sun and insects, the Himba women have developed a unique practice. They light a small fire inside the hut, using dried herbs that are aromatic and have antiseptic properties. The smoke that is released becomes their water, a purifying vapor that envelopes the body in a sort of smoke bath. It is a silent and sacred ritual, which replaces washing with water, and the Himba woman who gives us the demonstration performs it with precise and ancient gestures. As the smoke spreads under the arms, on the face, and in the hair, the scent of the herbs fills the air, creating an intimate and spiritual atmosphere. It is not just a question of hygiene, but of a deep connection with nature, of a way of taking care of oneself in harmony with the territory that surrounds them. Watching this ritual is like witnessing an ancient knowledge passed down from mother to daughter, and that tells much more than what may appear at first glance.
All together, and this makes the smell purifications.
Purifications.
But this is very special. It's coming from very far. Yeah.
And this one here, this came from the human or cow?
From the shop.
Yes, from the shop. You don't know if it's cow or
No, I don't know.
you don't know.
Yeah, it's from the city.
And this one is from the
Cow. That one can come from a cow
Bellissime cavigliere.
Sì, oh. Scusa.
Proprio.
Andiamo qua. Andiamo qua. Mau dua? Apa dagang udah? Pendek.
Ya. Kok rumahnya gini? Maju gini ya Papa. Papa mau butuh mau irumbune.
In addition to having the opportunity to witness again the morning ritual, in which the Himba women smear their bodies with the ointment based on butter and ochre, with our guide here we stop to observe more carefully the details of this fascinating ritual of beauty and identity. At this hut, we notice an almost ritual accuracy in the care of their decorative leggings, which are brushed with slow and precise gestures, as if each movement were part of a ceremony. Every piece of their traditional clothing, from the skins to the ornaments, is treated with great attention, almost as if to underline the symbolic importance of what they wear. Dressing is not only a practical act, but a moment of connection with one's culture and with past generations. The ornaments, made of natural materials and often decorated with intricate beads, tell stories of belonging, status, and beauty. As we observe them, we understand that this meticulous care of the body and clothing is not only an aesthetic fact, but a way to preserve and honor their traditions, expressing pride and identity through every detail.
Fanno agricoltura, non fanno allevamento, vendono i bracciali, quando vendono i bracciali danno le pecore, uccidono la pecora, la mangiano e loro se li mettono sui bracciali, non fanno vita come loro. They don't feel cold like you. Yeah.
Estimately maybe from 32, 33, the other one maybe 36, 7, the other one maybe 39,
Iya, Mbak.
yeah, 30 up.
Aimba group ba ka hana hina wi ilombro mongo na ombro mirongo ine na hambo uma.
The other one is 46. But our age, they don't know the age.
Muliangana hao.
What time is that?
Ame mamu bihane.
In the morning.
No, I mean child. This okra.
Yeah, no, they at that age, they don't put too much okra, they put too much only butter. Mako anajemba wewe lengo ajue heno kujue heno jidam. Jue ha.
Madwa.
Ngo jua wa isambina.
Madwa ile. Anuka mugendo.
Isamba muri. No, they will do.
Kulama moment. Kulama moment ndio jamani.
Ndole ndo majwa njoo ediere. Menane. Halo.
Nuba ngogo are jumu handana he.
Bebe.
Mamba.
Bebe mana kawe tidak?
Kalele bari kunyo.
Maganda mo beren mau dulu ngomong gak kayak nanti mau beren kan?
Oh, kayak gue.
Temennya kan?
Hai visto come l'ha tirato su quel bambino? Ah, quello è il coso per tenere su il nanillo.
Dole po wanje jikira tu ebe wanje. Ni wanje nguno.
Baba, dara na umbugu boy. Dara na umbugu ngoyo ya. Mekana. Mirere gaite monjo. Mirere umbe monjo. Ai ga bomba ndam.
Bello lei. Ma è una delle mogli del capo? No, figli, scusa. Però dice che il capo è molto malato, stavo proprio in ospedale. Sono tutti affari
So this one
In Etiopia scavano finché non esce fuori l'acqua.
Come gliele fa?
Come gliele fa?
Waje ngobra me murir. Sitaka ngamo murung. Munu awere ke munu wala yenga.
and this is calabash where they keep the milk. How a pumpkin is growing.
Ah, it's not pumpkin.
No, it's not a pumpkin. It's a calabash. So when it grows like
The guide reveals an important process in the daily life of the Himba, showing us how butter is produced, an essential element in their culture. The process is as simple as it is ingenious. The freshly milked milk is poured into an empty and thoroughly cleaned pumpkin. Then, with a rapid and constant movement, the pumpkin is rotated vigorously, using techniques passed down from generation to generation. This process, which uses rhythm and centrifugal force, allows the fat part of the milk to be separated, transforming it into butter. It is surprising to see how, with just a few natural tools, the Himba have managed to develop such an effective and sustainable method to produce what, in addition to being a precious food, is also the basis of the famous butter and ochre ointment with which they protect and adorn their bodies. As we listen to the guide, we realize that this simple gesture, repeated every day, contains much more. It is a bond with the land, with the animals, and with their own past, a ritual that continues to keep the ancestral traditions of the community alive.
Ma devono romperla per farlo uscire.
But you need to broke this to take off the butter.
no.
Ah, in this way. No, lo scuotono e esce fuori.
No, you take it out. Pecca, corn, meat, everything from a cow.
From a cow.
Bella sta ragazza.
Okay. No cow, no lives for the Himba. Cows, yes. Then there's life for them.
How many childs a woman?
They can have. They can, as long as they stop.
Like 11,
It depends.
normalmente 11-12
Not more
figli.
than that.
A medium?
Medium, 5. Medium 5.
And this lady, how many child?
Kina jambo.
6 children.
6.
So women are like this.
Na umongo mwadu.
When they
Ah,
start,
questo è il suo o sua? Ok. 1, 2.
Wema vai go weka kusiko.
some of them they went to school.
Ah, ok.
Women.
Ha chiesto se c'ho figli. She asked me if I have child. And I answer,
How many children?
no, I have.
Kambang bagi. Oh, no, him.
Sul caramelle senza zucchero?
Vieni, ti faccio una foto mentre dai le caramelle. C'è per tutti, sono messe la...
La caramella è tutta eccitata.
Scusa.
Arida
tende.
Volete fare la foto di gruppo con loro?
Verticale. Thank you.
Sambura. Ah, ricompattatevi, se no non c'è.
Compattiamoci.
I'm not in the video.
Oh, yes. Go.
Bella,
Dai che facciamo la copertina e avventura.
Say Himba. Himba. Cheese.
John, come. Come.
Right.
Yeah.
We are all in the picture. Jacob, otherwise,
Yeah.
go back.
Go back a bit.
No, but it's good.
L'acqua là.
La percezione della temperatura questa ormai.
The Himba village of Omangete is located in the far northwest of Namibia, near the bustling town of Opuo and the border with Angola. Opuo in the Herero language means the end, a very appropriate name given that it is the last inhabited center of some importance before entering Kayakoland, one of the most remote and wild regions of Africa. Here, on the edge of the modern world, time seems to have stopped. Opuo represents the border between civilization and untamed nature. Beyond this point lie vast territories where human presence is rarefied and where nature reigns supreme. The village of Omangete, with its inhabitants, preserves the ancestral culture of the Himba people intact, whose ancient traditions still resonate strongly in everyday life. Visiting these places means not only coming into contact with the pristine beauty of Kayakoland, but also immersing yourself in a unique cultural heritage, where every gesture, every rite, and every landscape tell a story of survival and harmony with a nature as harsh as it is fascinating. After the visit to the village, we had the opportunity to enter the Omangete school, an experience that allowed us to immerse ourselves in the daily life of the local children and to appreciate the dedication of the teachers.
If you want, I can do a photo of this.
Please. We are ready.
Okay.
We are doing a photo. Mother Brenda.
This is the structure where children who live far from the school stay.
Fabrizio, guarda che le bambine vuole fotografare.
This little girl who wanted a photograph was so cute, and I will remember her forever.
non c'è per la merenda.
Già merenda?
No, merenda per loro.
The classrooms, though simple, were filled with excitement and laughter, and each space seemed filled with an energy that transcended the walls and limited materials. It was touching to see the students' commitment, curiosity, and eagerness to learn. It was clear how even the smallest support and attention from the local and international community could make a difference. This visit reminded us of the importance of education as a tool to build a better future, and inspired us to contribute more concretely to support Omangete's educational resources. It's time to leave, and on the way out we have the opportunity to see the school garden. It is difficult to explain the charm of the dry and bare trees that the landscape like natural sculptures, whose intricate ramifications seem to tell ancient stories. The contrast between the deep red of the earth and the huts and the vibrant green of the vegetation creates an extraordinary palette of colors, which appears and disappears from the window like a sequence of living images. Every curve of the road that leads us to Epupa Falls offers new glimpses of a rugged and majestic nature, which seems to want to imprint the uniqueness of this land in our memory. The colors, the silhouettes of the trees, and the horizon that stretches as far as the eye can see envelop us, making this trip an almost hypnotic experience, an authentic taste of the wild beauty of Africa.
C'è pure la piscina, dai! C'è i canotti, c'avete, che volete?
Facciamo le dita! C'è il canotto!
io gli autisti, pago io gli autisti.
We had not booked a campsite at Epupa Falls, and upon our arrival, there was a veil of uncertainty about where we would be staying for the night. The initial enthusiasm was dampened by disappointment when we discovered that there was no space available in the first suggestive campsite we had spotted. But just as we were looking for alternatives, we had an unexpected stroke of luck. We managed to register at Epupa Camp. The tension turned into joy when, from the reception, an employee accompanied us to our pitch. Situated in a beautiful location, right on the river's edge, our new base offered spectacular views of the sparkling waters, surrounded by lush vegetation and immersed in the peace of that enchanted place. After I finish setting up the tents, I indulge in some fun with the hover air, watching the little drone soar through the sky. Angelo also enjoys being chased by this curious travel companion, providing moments of laughter and lightheartedness.
Lo vuoi prendere in mano?
We decide to immediately set off towards Epupa Falls, but just as we are about to leave, we notice a small scorpion near the bathroom, close to the river. The encounter intrigues us, but also leaves us with a pinch of apprehension. Knowing that small and unexpected guests could wander around the campsite will make us think more than once, especially when we have to leave the tent in the dark during the night.
Mi è preso che ci sono. Sì, sì, è la recepzione nostra.
We explore the various corners of the camp. The bar, with its welcoming atmosphere and relaxing view of the river, where we collect useful details on the available activities. And the swimming pool, an oasis of freshness perfect for relaxing under the African sun. We also noticed the areas for outdoor sports such as rafting and kayaking, which we had glimpsed as we drove up from our truck. Every corner seems designed to blend in with the surrounding landscape, offering an ideal mix of adventure and relaxation. It is as if the camp was designed to satisfy our desire to explore, but also to give us a few moments of pleasant respite.
A fare fresco e quindi ci sono 3 zanzare e devo mettere la camicia per non fare punti. Io l'unica cosa che ho fatto lì è veramente lunga la camicia.
A 20-minute walk takes us to the site of Epupa Falls, an enchanting oasis nestled in the heart of an arid and wild land, where time seems to have stopped. The crystal-clear, green waters of the Kunena River stand out, creating a spectacular contrast with the bright red granite rocks, patiently sculpted by nature. Around us, imposing baobabs, swaying palms, and thick bushes form a picture of lush vegetation, making this place a miracle of biodiversity. As the river widens into a wide fan, its waters rush with force and harmony into a series of jumps that, reaching the depth of a gorge of 70 meters, give life to dozens of waterfalls. The roar of the crashing waters and the freshness that is released into the air create a magical atmosphere, which invites you to stop and contemplate the grandeur of African nature in all its majesty and wild serenity, and to cool off with your feet in the water. Tired but happy, we meet at sunset for a cold beer, while the sky is colored with warm shades. The sunset, with its soft and enveloping light, transforms everything into a natural painting, where the contours fade and the day seems suspended in a perfect moment.